So we'll get right into the TNA the Impact Live results. I'm curious what everybody thought about the show. I thought that this was a good show. But for the first time since I resubscribed to TNA Plus in June, I had a bad experience. So on Thursday night, after I got done recording the Mike and JD show, I went downstairs, and that's been typically my after I record the show, I will go downstairs and I will watch Impact. And so that's why I can't do Impact on Thursday nights anymore, because I'm watching it late in the evening. And they did not have the edited, version where the commercials were taken out. It was the live feed. I was like, okay, I can fast forward, a few minutes per time, but I'm sure they'll get the live feed up eventually, or they'll get the edited version without the commercials eventually. So I'm watching it, and this thing was so blurry. It was extremely blurry. I was like, why does this look so bad? So the live feed was just super blurry. I don't know what the hell they did, what the hell happened, but it was not a professional production, right? The live feed. And now keep in mind, I'm talking about the live feed. But I'm watching, and then it gets to the Tasha Steelz match, and then it just kind of cuts out. It just stops. I was like, well, what the hell? So then I have to go back into it, and I have to then fast forward back to the Tasha Steelz part, and then it cuts off again. I was like, what the hell's going on? So then I fast forward again, and I have to fast forward past the Tasha Steelz part where she's walking down the entrance ramp, and then it's working, and but then I can't finish the episode, so I just have to like pause it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just get up in the morning and I'll watch it later. Well, I do that. I get up in the morning to watch it the next morning, and the feed was gone. I was like, what the hell? It's like, I was trying to go back to where I left off, but it wouldn't even play. The thing just wouldn't play. So then I got out of the app, and then I had to refresh my Apple TV, and I went back into it. Well, they had removed the live feed version and uploaded the edited clean feed, and which looked a million times better. It really did. It actually looked really good. And then it worked, and I was able to finish it, and it was an enjoyable show. But I did have a bad experience with TNA Plus for the first time. They've been pretty flawless up until this week. But for the most part, it's been great. All right, so kicking off this week's show is the first of two scheduled Ultimate X qualifying matches. One half of the TNA World Tag Team Champions, ABC, Chris Bay, is out first, and then John Skyler comes out, calls everybody some twerps, yada, yada, yada. And then we get NXT superstar Riley Osborne of KSU. This was the first time I've ever seen this person. It's like he is your typical white baby face from NXT. Looks like the kid's got some talent though. So, and then all of a sudden Frankie Kazarian makes his way out, and he's going to be on commentary, and he's pretty funny on commentary. I thought this was a pretty good match, and I actually was pretty impressed by Osborne. I was like, oh, this kid can hang with these guys. Chris Bay was far and away better than both these dudes. And I was like, well, if Chris Bay's in the match, he should win. But I get the feeling they're setting up ABC for something else. Like at Emergence, I think they're going to take on First Class. I think that's the match for them. And so, but yeah, we got Riley Osborne. So Skyler sends Bay into the post before he can make the cover. He tries stealing the pin, but Osborne reverses it for a 2 count of his own. And then Osborne heads to the top rope and hits a picture-perfect shooting star press. It was really nice on Skyler to qualify for Ultimate X at TNA Emergence 2024. So, yeah, Osborne got a victory here. And then, last week they had 2 NXT stars on the show, and they both lost, Wolfgang and Dante Chen. So, cool. Yeah, we're going to get Riley Osborne at Emergence inside the Ultimate X, and that's going to be a cool thing for him. Again, I don't think he adds anything to the company, but he's a good wrestler. I thought he was pretty good. So I was like, oh, okay, now I see what WWE sees in this guy. This is why they're getting behind him, is because he's pretty damn good. And then we see some earlier today footage of Nic Nemeth arriving to the building. He's approached for an interview in the parking lot and asked about his title defense against Alexander later this evening. Nemeth says Alexander isn't the same guy who had a record-long title reigns for TNA in the past. He made the mistake of mentioning Nemeth's family, and tonight Nemeth will stand over Alexander and prove to him how damn good he is. After this, the show heads into the first commercial break. Okay. And then we get the first of a series of segments with Santino Marella and Mid Cardona. So the show returns with Marella in the ring. A TNA Wrestling Authority figure talks about what Matt Cardona did last week, crashing PCO and Steph Delander's honeymoon, and then brutally assaulting the French-Canadian Frankenstein. Marella then calls out Cardona, and the Indie God makes his way out to the ring. He talks about all that Cardona did, including hurting his own jaw, which he said was sore for 3 days. He said despite all that, he has a proposition to make him. Cardona tells Marella they go back, and he's acting like he doesn't know about him. And he says, now the Deathmatch King and the Indie God, he said he doesn't work for Santino, TNA, or anybody else. Well, that's true. Cardona talks about what he did at the wedding and the honeymoon of Delander and PCO. Santino laughs and says Cardona just gave him evidence on camera. He can have him prosecuted, or he can listen to Santino's proposition. He said he'll prosecute Cardona and send him to jail. And if he doesn't agree to sign the contract now, Cardona clarifies, you're saying if I wrestle PCO in Tampa, I don't have to go to jail? Santino says, yeah. Cardona takes the contract from Santino and says he'll have his people look it over. And if everything's good, he'll fight PCO in Tampa. You can trust me, Santino, he says before walking off. Santino seems to think that he's as good as signed. So they kind of made it seem like they were teasing that Cardona was signing a contract with TNA. And that Santino was getting a big win by signing Matt Cardona, but when in reality, he's signing him to a match. So, but did anybody else think that that they were trying to make it look like Cardona was signing a contract? That's what it made it look like to me. But Cardona is a free agent, and he always will be. Yeah, but it would be cool if they did sign him. Backstage, Frankie Kazarian's boasting, showing next week how he's going to get the TNA World Championship by way of the X Division. So he's going to do option C again. Up walks Eric Young for a verbal back and forth with them, and then Macklin enters the picture. This is so weird. It's like Eric Young last week was confronting Hammerstone, and then now he just walks around in the back, just confront. That's his gimmick. While people are talking, he's like, "Hey, I disagree with you and your position and what you're saying here." Is that the gimmick now? Because he did the same thing to Hammerstone last week, or it might have been the week before, but it wasn't that long ago. It's we have unfinished business, you and me. And now Kazarian. Now they did feud earlier this year. Kazarian won, just like he beat Eric Young's ass, just like he did to Joe Hendry. Jobbed them both out. And then Steve Macklin enters the picture, and the three exchange cold stares. We then shoot to a TNA or video package with Macklin, who vows to work his way back to the World Championship. He'll stack bodies one by one, naming many of the top stars in TNA. But then he kind of focuses his attack on Eric Young as somebody he's never faced. He said he's going to change that. He says Young wants to be the face and the heartbeat of TNA. Macklin says he's the new blood that's being pumped through the veins in the heart of TNA. He tells Young he'll be the first body he stacks, and then it's tag him, bag him, and mayhem for all. Macklin is so good at this stuff. I mean, he's good at everything, but he's really good at these kind of one camera shoots and just doing awesome promos. He's great. And if they're going to feud him and Young, I'm fine with it. But I feel like not that long ago, Eric Young and Hammerstone were feuding. We never got the resolution of that. Now Hammerstone is just wanting to be in the X division. He's he wants to fight little guys now. But yeah, I don't know. So sorry, I lost my spot. And then we go to Giselle Shaw and Tasha Steelz. This is where things started going downhill for me as far as the feed went. But I don't know why they're feuding. It's this is the second time we had. I know that Tasha cheated last time, so we had extra referees out. Tasha tried to cheat, and Giselle Shaw ended up getting the victory. Now, but what does she get out of it? What's next for her? I don't know. What was the point of all this? I think the point is they just had nothing for them and decided to just make them wrestle a couple times. I mean, the matches aren't bad. They're not great either. They're not bad. But it's nobody's fighting to see these two go at it more. It's like, oh my God, I want to see a third. Like, that's not happening. It was fine. I wonder what they're going to do with Giselle. You know, with all the Scott D'Amore stuff, and like she was going to leave, and then they convinced her to stay, so she stayed. She took some time off, and now she's back, and she's just kind of existing at this point. Like, she did those vignettes with Gail Kim. We thought, okay, maybe she's going to get a push, and Gail Kim's going to be in her corner. She's a babyface now, but really, she's not doing anything. She's just having random matches with Tasha Steelz, who also has not been doing anything. I don't know, man. This Knockouts division is weird right now. They're in this weird like limbo because they have a lame duck champion, because we all know that she's leaving, which is kind of what happened with Trinity last year. But now we're getting with Jordan Grayson, but it's like, it seems like there's no plan for after Jordan. Like, they have nobody to take over when she's gone, and they're not doing a good job of setting anybody up. I don't know. The whole division just feels off to me. And Gail Kim did an interview a couple weeks ago talking about how they're going to restack the division. Well, we just haven't seen any evidence that's true, because she's been saying that for a while. And the division just keeps getting weaker. It really is like a sad, because like the TNA, a big part of the strength of TNA was always the Knockouts division. And right now it's not a strength. It really isn't. So I feel like they're putting on matches to check boxes versus putting on matches because they're adding to the program. They need to sign some more talent for this division specifically. If people are going to take this division seriously, we have nobody ready to take over for Jordan when she leaves. Nobody. That could change. There's time. Gail also said that there was an idea, I guess, being floated around, I guess, last year, that she was going to return to the ring and form a tag team with Mickie James. But then they just didn't do it. She just didn't have the time. I'm like, why would you even put that out there? Because like literally something like that could actually make people care about the tag team division, because nobody cares about it. It's a pre-show title. It's the Digital Media Championship, the Knockouts tag division. So I don't know, man. She's like real happy in the company. She's being empowered, Gail Kim, but I want to see something out of her when it comes to this Knockouts division. This is on her now. She's kind of putting her name out there as the one that's getting the stuff done. She needs to step it up. She really does. All right. And then we go to a really good match. Moose and Mike Santana. So before people start like cheering and getting excited about the fact that Mike Santana lost, like AEW fans, like, Mike Santana lost to Moose. I bet you wish you would have stayed in AEW now. No, he wanted to get out of there for years. He's happy here. He's happy here, even in spite of the fact that he lost to Moose, because guess what? They protected him. He was attacked backstage. He shouldn't have been in the match. the TNA doctors are just as bad as AEW doctors. They let him wrestle. And it took everything Moose had to beat an injured Mike Santana. And now they're going to continue the feud. This is good storytelling. But yeah, they go backstage, and the system were all standing over Mike Santana after beating him down and knocking him out. A bunch of TNA officials rushed to the scene and to tend to Santana as the system taunts him, and they walk off. And then the system and JDC are introduced, and they make their way out to the ring wearing their Mark Henry 1996 WWE gear. That's pretty funny. That is what he wore. As the commentators bring up Mark Henry's got heat right now. I don't know, man. That guy's saying some pretty dumb stuff about the Vince McMahon thing. So I lost a lot of respect for that guy. And the ongoing issues with the aforementioned Santana and Moose's scheduled match against him. Alicia Edwards began. You want to know something? She's getting a ton of boos, by the way. She's pretty funny. She tells stupid fans of Tampa that they may have expected Moose versus Santana, but Santana's not medically cleared. She says that means it looks like Moose has the night off, and then the lights go out. Santana's music hits. He's holding his ribs, and he's trying to, get out to the ringside. And finally, he hits the ring and starts brawling his way through the system, and then they call for the bell. And they end up having a really good match, and I thought they told a great story in the match. They really did. Like, Santana is a very good babyface. He really is. So we'll go to the end here. Santana hits the rolling buck 50 to shift the offensive momentum in his favor. He follows up with a running cannonball splash to Moosh. In the corner for a 2 count, Santana slaps his own hurt arm, calling for a spin the block. He hits it, but he can't follow up with a quick cover. Instead, both guys are down as fans chant TNA. Santana eventually crawls for the cover, but Moose rolls away. Santana rolls Moose back into the ring. Moose yanks Santana's arm down over the top rope before Santana re-enters himself, and he follows up with an enormous spear for the win in a really good match. Yeah, I dug that match. I really did. I dug it. Let's go to the chat here. I forgot about the chat. Okay. Hold on. Let me get to this one. IO Production says first WWE NXT signed talent to be an Ultimate X. Yeah. Tom Hannafin's going to love that. First time ever matchup. And then IO says, I think Santino went too much into the accent in this segment. I think Santino's better in small doses, and he should only be on the show once per week because his shtick gets old quick. Billy, Masha is a natural successor to Jordan. I assume they're just delaying this matchup for Jordan to put Masha over on her way out. Yeah, but I just don't think Masha is the star that Jordan is. She's like, as far as in the ring, is every bit as good as Jordan is, but I just don't know that she has the star power. Santana went 5-on-1 with the system basically, and then Edwards and Meyer still rocking the stars and stripes even in the U.S. Yeah, it's babyface move. I want one of those jackets though. I'm starting an online campaign for one of the jackets. After the match, Moose and Santana, or Moose and the system appear to be up to no good as they close in on Mike Santana, who's still down in a very hard-fought effort. Although nobody said his name, Joe Hendry appeared. Yeah, as soon as his music hit, the crowd went crazy. Hendry runs down to the ring to check to a big reception, and he has a steel chair in hand, clears the ring of Moose, and then the rest of the system. He gets on the mic and tells the system they've made enemies out of Santana and himself. And he reminds them that there are strength in numbers. He tells Moose and JDC they will be squaring off against the Hardy Boys next week. I didn't know that Joe Hendry had that authority. So Joe Hendry's making matches now. So we got Moose and JDC. I can't stand JDC. I know he's there to take the pin, but just having him there, just like, ugh, he's just not any good. but I did hear, like, somebody that was in Tampa said that he was like one of the more enjoyable parts of the live experience there. So I will give him, like, people do like seeing him live, but I'm just like, it's just the fact that it's Fandango. I can't get past it. It's probably just a me thing, but I don't know. Like, if you put this match on paper, it's one of those matches that everybody outside of the TNA like fandom is going to make fun of. but apparently it was pretty good. So we'll see what happens. Backstage in the stairwell, Spitfire duo of Jody Threat and Danny Luna dare Militia to try them again. Like, this feud is never ending. How many matches are they going to have? It's time to break Spitfire up and create a new tag team. Like Jody Threat and now fucking Giselle can be a team or something. That's what they do. That's their formula. But I'm sick of Militia versus Spitfire. That's what happens when you have no teams. You just have to let everybody wrestle each other a million times to no reaction. But yeah, they said they're going to recapture the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships. And then we return to footage of Ash by Elegance pink kendo stick attack of Jordan Grace last week's show. Then shoots a new footage of the Juggernaut reacting to what happened. She tells Ash that if she wants to fight, she's damn sure going to get one. And then we go to the next Ultimate X qualifying match where Jason Hotch, of all people, defeats Ace Austin and Rich Swann. And I got to say, I like that Jason Hotch is in the match. I don't think that he's going to win the Ultimate X. I think Speedball retains there. But I like that they're giving new people an opportunity. But you know who else needs an opportunity to be in that match? Leon Slater, who was not in Montreal and he was not in Tampa. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what's going on. But, like, he is the guy that they should be focusing that division around, and that he is the guy that should be taking on Speedball at Bound for Glory. And then that's where they should crown Leon Slater. Like, that's the future of the division. And the fact that he's not even like being booked right now is weird. It's very weird. But we'll go to the end here. Chris Bay runs out of nowhere and dies. So first class. So during the match, Ace Austin and Rich Swann were fighting the outside, and he was getting taunted by AJ Francis. So Ace Austin threw Rich Swann into AJ Francis, who was doing commentary. It's pretty funny. And then AJ Francis attacked Ace Austin, which caused Chris Bay to show up, and he does a huge dive over the top rope out of nowhere, taking out Francis. Again, but he's distracted by John Skyler, who runs out after coming up short in the other Ultimate X qualifier earlier tonight. This leads to Hotch scoring a huge upset pin over Austin to qualify for Ultimate X at TNA Emergence. He and Skyler head to the back together as the show heads into another commercial break. So yeah, it looks like, so now Hotch is in the Ultimate X, which he's a good wrestler. I like that they're going to try, they might try something with him. And I get the feeling ABC will be defending their titles against First Class at Emergence. And then Matt Cardona so another backstage thing with Cardona and Santino convinces Santino to have a 6-person match in Tampa, first involving himself and PCO, and then a one-on-one bout between the two at TNA Emergence. Cardona again pretends that this is the plan, which Santino is all smiles and happy about. So yeah, so they're gonna do a mixed tag match next week. And before we get into the main event, man, at this point, the show's very good. The show's very good. I'm digging it. Billy says, "Who's more annoying on TV, JDC or Diener?" I would say they're probably pretty equal, but Diener's shtick, he hasn't been on in a little bit. But yeah, everybody's happy that Hotch is getting the opportunity. So Jason Hotch is great, but I agree the disappearance of Slater on TV for over a month is curious. Yeah, it's just super weird. And then Cardona, Steph versus Rhino, Zaya, and PCO. You know what? I did read the spoilers, but I forgot what that match actually is. So I'm sure they'll announce whatever it is soon. And then, so now we get to the main event, and I thought this main event was really damn good. And I think people forget that Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, is like, for a while there, was pretty fucking good. The guy can really go when he wants to. He works WWE style, and I think that rubs people the wrong way. But he actually is really freaking good. He's really good. And in this match, I think that Josh Alexander is the right opponent for him. And so they went to a 30-minute draw. So I'm not going to do a full play-by-play because it was 30 minutes. That's a lot. But let's go to the end here. Nemeth heads out to the floor and gets Alexander back inside the squared circle after connecting with a DDT on the floor. He picks Alexander up with designs on another danger zone, but Alexander fights back and sends Nemeth into the ring post shoulder first. And again, on the other side of the ring, Alexander hoists Nemeth up and runs him across the ring, lawn darting him into the middle turnbuckle for snake eyes, that was pretty gnarly. Nemeth is down and out. Alexander stalks him. He brings Nemeth to the middle of the ring looking for the C4 spike, but Nemeth comes to life and connects with a danger zone. He goes for the cover, but the timekeeper calls for the bell before the referee makes its recount. Ring announcer informs us that the 30-minute time limit has expired, and TNA, therefore, still TNA World Champion is Nic Nemeth. The fans boo. Nemeth isn't happy. So at this point, Nemeth does a great job. He's so good. He starts like looking at the crowd, asking for 5 more minutes. Does the crowd want 5 more minutes? So the crowd starts chanting 5 more minutes. I got to comment on the crowd really quick. During this match, there were way too many empty seats. I think a lot of people left before the match. And then when the match was over and they were shooting the angle, people started walking out. So I don't know when they recorded it, like at what point during the night, but maybe if they're going to shoot an angle like this, they shouldn't wait till the very end of the night. Maybe like just do earlier in the night, maybe like midway through the show. But I don't know when they did it. So I'll be honest, I could be completely wrong. But for some reason, there was a lot of empty seats during this match. So, but he's the fans start chanting 5 more minutes. Nemeth wants it to. The ref leaves it up to Alexander. So he asks Alexander. Alexander gets up to his feet, looks around, and then he just drops down and he exits the ring. Nemeth chases him down, throws him back into the ring, and then Alexander kicks Nemeth low. And then he hits him low, and then he looks at the ref and he's like, okay, now ring the bell. So it's like, what a shithead move. I love that. That was great heel stuff. That was really great heel stuff. But then, of course, the referee is not playing ball there. The referee is not playing ball there, and did not restart the match. And then the show goes off the air. And so, which leads us to now the main event of Emergence will be an Iron Man match between Nic Nemeth and Josh Alexander. I am hot and cold on Iron Man matches because I just feel like when you know the time limit, like it's going to go 60 minutes, you don't really start paying attention to like the last 10 minutes. And so everything that they do for the first 45 or 50 minutes or so doesn't really matter. So they have to really work hard to get me interested in the first 50 minutes because I'm really only cared about the end at that point. It's like it's a psychological, and I know I'm not the only one. People won't admit it, but like that's what happens in these Iron Man matches. So they're going to have to tell some stories during the 60 minutes. And so sometimes they get a little too lazy and they have like way too many pinfalls and submissions and they do disqualifications. And so, and fuckery and all this and that. But, I do think it's going to be really good because there's two very good workers. So they're going to do something. And I'm curious to see how they work it all out. I do think that Alexander needs to win the title though. He should have won it at Slammiversary. I think they wanted to just send the crowd home happy, which I think was a mistake. I think they should have just got the heat on Josh and then made him the championship, made him the champion, and then just started working the Joe Hendry thing there. But look, they need something for these smaller TNA Plus specials too, and so they're going to do an Iron Man match in front of 300-400 people there in Louisville. So I think we're going to have like 297 on the floor, maybe another couple hundred up in the balcony. So about 400 or 500 people. So they're going to do it there in that bar in Louisville. And I think they're probably going to see a title change. I really think that they should do it. And here's how I would do it. Here's how I would book this match. They're going to go 3-3 up in like the final minutes. And Ethan Page needs to show up and cost Nemeth the match. And Josh Alexander wins. And then over on NXT, we get a North reunion. Alexander and Ethan Page, both as world champions, taking on Joe Hendry and Trick Williams for their for one of their shows, like No Mercy or whatever. And then we need to bring something like that back to Victory Road in September because they have a really big show in September. So I think we need to do something like that. We need to have a North reunion. Ethan Page needs to show up, and there you go. All right. So hold on. I got some people calling me out. So Io says this favors Josh more because he does like to go 30-40 minute matches anyway. Yeah, he does. Did you see MJF Danielson Iron Man? Yeah, MJF Danielson is probably the best Iron Man match I've ever seen. I thought they did a great job. And Billy says Josh and Nick will deliver. Look, I think they will. I think they will. But Mike, wouldn't that be dropping the belt from one heel to another? No, because it was an elimination match. Moose was defeated by Joe Hendry early in the show, early in the match. Remember, he was beaten first. He's out. And so now the title is being held up at that point. There is no champion anymore. Right? And then Josh Alexander turns heel on Joe Hendry and beats Joe Hendry. I think what they should have done is saved that moment for the end of the match. Instead of doing it in the middle of the match and eliminating Joe Hendry, and then Nemeth immediately eliminates Josh Alexander, I thought they put cold water on Josh's heel turn. Now he has to work his way back up. And he's doing a good job. He really is. Like, I'm not saying he's dead as a heel, nothing like that, but I just felt like the moment would have been bigger if Josh Alexander had turned on Hendry in the main event and won the title. Like, that was the moment. They should have saved that moment for last. I also think that they should not have closed with that match. They shouldn't. They should have opened with it. And they should have closed with Speedball versus Mustafa Ali. But I was saying that leading into it. I was saying that the whole time. So that's what they should have done. Billy says, you won't see a better TV main event this week on any promotion. Josh and Nick was awesome. Yep. And then Io says, Emergence is 2 days before No Mercy. So Emergence is on Friday, and so No Mercy's on Sunday. Yeah. So I think you could do something like that. Like, you can have Ethan Page show up at Emergence and cost Nemeth the match. and then do something at No Mercy with the North. Although they actually have a title match already planned. It could be Josh Alexander. It could be Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page at No Mercy. I think it could be. So yeah, you can have Ethan Page show up and cost Nemeth the match. And then Josh Alexander shows up at No Mercy and costs Joe Hendry the match. And there's your heat for Joe Hendry and Josh Alexander leading into Bound for Glory. And then you can get a North reunion at Victory Road. Like, the North, you can get Ethan Page and Josh Alexander versus Joe Hendry and Nic Nemeth at Victory Road. I think that could work. Okay, I think we just booked it, guys. Yeah, Io says, I think Josh wins and NXT TNA is something planned. Yep. And then you can't go wrong with Nemeth as your champ. I'm fine with Slammiversary result. Yeah. Look, this is just me armchair quarterbacking. And all the buzz heading into Bound for Glory. I think that works out pretty well. All right, guys, that is the 1 hour mark. I greatly appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you for being Patreon subscribers. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much as well. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure that you're a subscriber. We really need your subscriptions. We got to get them numbers up. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me. And until next time, mahalo.